Okay, good evening. My name is Brian Haggerty. I'm the chair of the El Paso Community College Board of Trustees, calling this meeting to order. If anyone that is not here present wants to watch this meeting on the internet, they can look it up at www.youtube.com/user/go-EPCC. Okay, I want to call this meeting to order. Pam, go ahead, and before we go, who hasn't said the pledge in a while? Huh? Dr. Amaya? Okay, you get the short shot. No, you get the honor to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Pam, call the trustees to see who's here.
Yes, sir. Mr. Uxer. Present. Mrs. Robles.
Present.
Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Naheda.
Here.
Ms. Pena is not here this evening. Mr. Haggerty.
Here. Okay, 1.4.
Item 1.4, approval of minutes. These are for the special board meeting on January 7th and the special board meeting on January 23rd.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Again, I want to welcome all our guests and staff members. 1.6, Pam?
Item 1.6, open forum. At this time, I have not received any forms.
No one?
Okay. Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, the El Paso Community College Foundation, represented by Ms. Cindy Conroy, Board Chair, and Dr. Dolores Gross, Executive Director, will recognize donors and student scholarship recipients, including the Northeast Rotary Foundation, GECU representatives, Ms. Elia Mendez and Ms. Catherine Villapana, dental hygiene faculty members, along with students awarded the Closing America's Smile Gap, funded by Hispanic Star. We Are All Human Foundation and Procter & Gamble contribution of $22,500, Northeast Rotary Foundation contribution of $5,000, and GECU Foundation contribution of $10,000 for student scholarships.
Good evening, Chairman Haggerty, Board of Trustees, Dr. Sarata, faculty, staff, guests, and administrators. Thank you for this opportunity to recognize donors to El Paso Community College Foundation. We're very pleased to do that this evening. But first of all, I would like to introduce again to you the EPCC Foundation Board Chair, Ms. Cindy Conroy. Many of you have already met Cindy with her very extensive work in the community, as well as perhaps in the fall at Fajitas and Margaritas for Scholarship, the foundation's signature fall fundraiser. Ms. Conroy is an AVP at West Star Bank. She also serves as special aid to Chairman Rick Francis of West Star Bank, as well as being in charge of their community outreach. The foundation is extremely pleased. The board was very happy to elect Ms. Conroy chair of the board. And as she rotates off as chairperson of United Way of El Paso, she's a long-serving EPCC Foundation board member, and now she serves as chair of the EPCC Foundation board. Ms. Conroy.
Good evening. It's a pleasure for me to be here today with you and an honor to serve as the chair of the El Paso Community College Foundation. I know many of you know that the foundation raises and manages and invests funds for the long-term support of the mission, vision, and strategic goals of El Paso Community College. Our primary focus is to raise funds for student scholarships and emergency student needs. However, the foundation is also in a unique position that we can also raise money for the college in areas where the college cannot receive funds. Many organizations and foundations will only give to a 501c3, and that's where we serve to help you all in your mission. So it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'd like to recognize some special donor organizations this evening. First, we have Mr. James Quilty from the Northeast Rotary Foundation. Northeast Rotary Foundation's $5,000 contribution for student scholarships will help EPCC students continue on in their studies and persist on to graduation. Northeast Rotary is a longtime donor to El Paso Community College, and through this contribution, 5 $1,000 scholarships will be awarded. Your support over the years, Mr. Quilty, and Northeast Rotary Foundation is a very impacting gift, and we thank you for helping El Paso Community College students progress and complete degrees and become El Paso's future leaders. So with that, Mr. Quilty, if you'll come on up.
Mr. Quilty, you don't want to say anything?
I think the judge knows me too well. There's always have something to say. I just
I
want to
gave you
make,
2 minutes.
it's a pleasure to be a very proud partner with the El Paso Community College. And we have been a longtime advocate for all the great work that you guys do. And thank you for this recognition today. And you can guarantee that we'll continue to support this in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all you do for the college. You could double it next year.
Next, we'd like to recognize GECU Foundation. Representing the GECU this evening is Georgina Hernandez, Strategic Planner and Executive Director of the GECU Foundation, as well as Rosie Chrisman, the Regional Branch Manager. The EPCC Foundation is proud to partner with GECU Foundation to facilitate higher education completion in El Paso. Thank you to GECU Foundation, Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Chrisman, your leadership and support for our students with a $10,000 contribution. Since 2016, GSU and its foundation has contributed more than $77,000 for scholarships through their donations, their support for fajitas and margaritas, and for scholarships, and for the Stay Strong Student Emergency Fund. Thank you all very much. Thank you to the GSU Foundation.
Just take the picture. Just do it. You can edit it out later.
Hello, afternoon. On behalf of the GECU Foundation, we just like to thank El Paso Community College for being such a great partner for GECU and for also being a great part of the fabric of the community. We share the same mission and goals, and we're just proud to be able to help the students. Thank you.
Thank you.
The The EPCC Foundation is very happy to recognize the talented students of the EPCC Dental Hygiene Program that were awarded $3,750 in scholarships through a new partnership with EPCC Foundation, Hispanic Star, Procter & Gamble, and the We Are All Human Foundation. These Closing the Smile Gap scholarships will help students not only pay their tuition, but also purchase their scrubs and equipment for the program. We'd like to give congratulations to Samantha Salcido, Christian Ginathan, Susana Demas Salcedo, Susana Gutierrez, Destiny Gonzalez Connor, and Samantha Ochoa.
Take a picture. Can we get all the students to line up in front of her over here and take a picture with the board? Have them all line up over here so we can, come on, ladies. Structure.
Go, guys, ready? One, and do one more. Here you go, guys, ready? 1, 2, and.
I'd also like to congratulate, on behalf of the foundation, the faculty that works so hard and diligently with these students and helped implement the scholarship program. Here with us this evening, we have Elia Mendez and Catherine Villalpana, EPCC Dental Hygiene faculty. I think we have one of them here. This is a new scholarship program in collaboration with Hispanic Star, We Are All Human, and with Procter & Gamble. And the EPCC Foundation hopes to partner more in the future with these foundations and bring some Procter & Gamble funds to El Paso. So thank you, faculty, for working with these talented students. And I do want to mention that these are $3,750 scholarships per student. These scholarships will help pay for their scrubs as well as their tuition and other essential dental tools to help them successfully complete their program and become El Paso's next professionals in the dental hygiene field. So thank you.
No more? You don't have any more? You don't have any more cash to give out?
To receive.
Well, thank you so much. And again, on behalf of the board, we want to thank the foundation for all they do for El Paso Community College. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 1.7.2, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government
Oh, she
Association.
wasn't done? Should we go back?
Dr. Gross, you used to have a presentation, don't you?
I do.
It's after
Oh.
this is all over.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
See, Pam knows what she's
It's the next item.
It's my fault.
doing. Pam's got it under control.
Good evening, Dr. Serrata, Board Chair Judge Haggerty, and esteemed board members, staff, and guests. I am pleased to inform you that we have doubled our members and are now at 10 members total, compared to last semester when we had 5 members. Currently with me, I have Vice President Armando Baca and Vallaverde Senator Janelle Contreras. In January, we had traveled with a diverse group of students to the state capitol to attend Community College Day, where we had the opportunity to discuss funding for community colleges with our legislators. I would also like to highlight the 5 students that went with us on this trip: Janelle Contreras, Mallory Van Meter, Stephanie Dennis, Isaiah Jimenez, as well as myself, who went along with Vice President of Student Enrollment Services, Dr. Amaya, and our advisor, Coach Hinojosa. All of these students did a great job representing El Paso Community College. During Community College Day, we were able to network with 4 students from Ranger College. These students had informed us that they had restarted their SGA, and it had been inactive for 10 years. Because of this, we shared with Ranger College our constitution to assist them in setting the foundation for their Student Government Association. I would also like to highlight that we will be sending 5 of our members to the TJCSGA Region 1 meeting in Amarillo, Texas on March 3rd and the 4th. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
We'll find somebody, we'll find. I'll try my best.
Good late afternoon, members of the board, Mr. President,
Hello.
vice presidents, deans, all you guests out there. The dominant political party in Texas has upped the ante in its war against higher education. Representative Cody Harris has introduced into the legislature HB 1607, entitled "An Act Relating to Prohibiting Certain Instruction as Part of a Course at a Public Institution of Higher Education." In the bill, Harris notes 7 specific points that would be prohibited, and thus a blatant violation of free speech and academic freedom. Of Harris's points, I find number 7 to be by far the most insidious. It reads, and I quote, "With respect to their relationship to American values, slavery and racism are anything other than deviations from, betrayals of, or failures to live up to the authentic founding principles of the United States, which include liberty and equality." Slavery is merely anything other than a deviation from American values? It is highly hypocritical when the political party that openly opposes mandates now wants to mandate how American history is taught. And of course, this hits me rather personally, being a history professor. It is also highly hypocritical when members of this party claim they don't want college students indoctrinated about American history, when that is exactly what they are proposing. They want students indoctrinated into their version of American history, with the truth be damned. Pardon my word. What I find most hypocritical is that people like the sponsor of this bill and our lieutenant governor don't seem to know much about the basics of American history. According to this bill, slavery was merely a deviation from the founding principles of the United States, which include liberty and equality. A deviation, is it? The deviation of slavery first appeared in the English colony of Virginia in 1619. Virginia, of course, was later one of the original 13 states. Slavery first appeared in the future state of Florida, then a Spanish colony, around the year 1526. When the United States declared independence in 1776, slavery was a key component of the American economy in the South. Slavery did not officially end in the United States until December 6, 1865, with the passage of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. That is 246 years after the first slaves were brought to Virginia. 339 years since slaves were first brought to Florida, and 89 years since the U.S. declared independence. These, Cody Harris, sponsor of the bill, are not deviations. They are entrenchments. Cody Harris and his minions need to actually know American history before they start dictating and mandating how it should be taught in Texas public colleges and universities, including EPCC. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. No one?
Item 1.8, communications. Item 1.8.1, discussion and review regarding data, statistics, policies, and general information related to El Paso Community College by the Board of Trustees.
You
Dr.
got
Gross.
the other presentation?
Dr. Gross, we would like to call you back up, and you'd be allowed to do the rest of your presentation, please.
Thank you. I'm back.
All right. You found some more money.
Thank you for this time this evening, trustees and Dr. Sarata, for allowing the EPCC Foundation to share a little bit more information about the foundation and its role in recent activities. And so we'll start off with the title, EPCC Foundation, Supporting College Access, Affordability, and Success for El Paso Community College Students. You see here our board list, and I'll ask our board chair, Ms. Conroy, to mention our board members to you.
Thank you, Dolores. Serving as immediate past chair is Patricia Marcus, and she is with Westar, which we try not to dominate a lot of boards, but we're getting out there a lot. Richard Osberg of El Paso Electric is our vice chair. Cynthia Gomez with EPCC faculty serves as our treasurer. And just this year, we added Vanessa Aguilar with Flores, Tani, and Acosta PC as a board, on our board. Leticia Bueno from GECU. JJ Childress is joining us this year as well, and he's with Microsoft. Greg Diodana with Viva Capital. Anthony Lamantilla Jr. with LNF Distributors. Jorge Mora with Mijares Mora Architects. Lydia Alquira Terrazas with the Hospitals of Providence, and joining us just recently as well is VJ Smith with Marathon.
And I do have a handout for you at the end of the presentation that lists the titles of each of the board members. And so with that, the EPCC Foundation role is fundraising and engagement of business, corporate, community partners, foundations, and individuals to support El Paso Community College students with scholarships and emergency funds. The foundation raises, invests, and manages funds in support of El Paso Community College's mission, vision, and strategic goals. We are your nonprofit partner in support of the college and students. I want to share a little bit with the trustees this evening about scholarship applications and the need for student support. And this is, as you know, an ongoing need of our students for financial support and assistance in order to enroll, progress, and complete college. You'll see here data from recent years of scholarship applications received and the number that were funded by the El Paso Community College Foundation. You'll also see that scholarship applications have increased, and that is both in terms of because of need, as well as extensive outreach that the foundation conducts at the campuses and with social media and in every venue we can think of, with faculty, with students, to encourage students to apply for scholarships as financial support. Over the past 4 years, you'll see that the funds awarded to El Paso Community College students by the foundation, and you'll see that on that last year, 22-23, that's half of the academic year. So there's another half to come. But in general, it's about $200,000 to $250,000 a year awarded by the EPCC Foundation to the college so that it can be dispersed out to students for scholarships. All scholarships are currently open, and here's a little bit of information from the previous academic year, 21-22. 152 scholarships were awarded for $276,000. The average grade point average of students to receive the awards was 3.38. And you'll see that since 2010, because we do really look at that data and track to see how students are progressing. So 1,886 scholarships have been awarded with foundation funds, and out of that, 1,357 students graduated with foundation scholarship support. And this last fall, at the graduation ceremonies, you probably encountered some of those graduates. There were 47 that finished in the fall semester. The graduation rate, we're proud of this. We think it's a significant number, and we're always striving to increase that for students. But 48% of EPCC Foundation scholarship awardees graduated in 3 or fewer years. And since 2019, again, the foundation has awarded in excess of $765,000. We work very closely with our partners in student services with financial aid who assist us in getting awards out to students. And we also monitor that data in terms of what degrees students are pursuing, time to graduation, all sorts of information to see how we can be more impactful and to address student needs. But student needs still continue. And so, as you're aware, the pandemic had an adverse impact on our world. And for students, young people just starting out in their academic careers, it was extremely difficult. Because of that, the foundation began a fund, which many of you have contributed to and supported, the Stay Strong Student Emergency Fund. That fund was for small financial support to students experiencing emergency needs, such things as gas to put in the car, food support, tuition, of course, technology, course materials, and books. Sometimes the requests are even for funding by students to purchase their parking sticker. And we've had a number of those requests where students request just what they need, and sometimes it's very small expenses. I share here some recent quotes from students. This was a fund that the foundation applied for and received from Ellucian, a large software provider. But we opened an emergency funding source for students this semester. In a 2-week period, more than 185 students applied for that funding. And these were some of the direct quotes from students talking about emergency needs that they experienced. A number focused on their ability to purchase prescriptions or to access health care. A number mentioned financial hardships with paying for school because of job loss or other life circumstances. And so again, those requests were very impacting, and as the staff and I reviewed, I have to admit that a number of times we were in tears reading them, and because there are some very significant needs that students still continue to experience. I want to share a positive, happy opportunity that is currently open to El Paso Community College students. This is year 5 of the EPCC Foundation's partnership with McDonald's El Paso. Richard Castro and McDonald's El Paso 5 years ago decided to keep the money local. He himself set up the scholarship fund and partners with El Paso Community College and with UTEP As a partner with him, your EPCC Foundation raises the funds to match dollar for dollar everything that McDonald's El Paso awards to students. This year, 11 new students will be awarded $3,264, which is their full tuition for the academic year. And that scholarship is for high school seniors graduating. It's open now, and the deadline coming up soon. And so the foundation outreaches very actively with the high schools, with counselors. We email, we social media, all venues to get word out to students with the college's recruitment office, so that high school students graduating will apply, and that is open to all graduating high school seniors. The STARS Scholarship Fund is another major fund of the El Paso Community College Foundation, and STARS also requires a dollar for dollar match. So the EPCC Foundation fundraises in order to match those scholarships, and it is a very significant source of funding for EPCC students. So you'll see there that in its 10 years, $447,000 has been awarded to El Paso Community College students through STARS. This has been for 316 students to date, and STARS is also currently open to EPCC students. They must have completed 12 credit hours to apply at the time of their application, and that is open until March 31st of this year. And we look forward to more EPCC students receiving that scholarship to help them with full tuition for a year. Many of you have supported, and it's so appreciated, the Fajitas and Margaritas for Scholarships fundraising event. That is the major live in-person fundraiser of the EPCC Foundation, and thank you so much to the board and Dr. Serrata for your support of that event. This was held in October, and this past fall, it was our first year back live and in person since 2019 and the pandemic. So the foundation netted more than $47,000 for student scholarships. A few highlights also from the fall semester. The foundation received more than $57,000 for scholarships. A number of those were contributions to existing endowment funds at the foundation. There was also the student emergency funding, and so that was for the fall semester. And again, thanks to GECU, Northeast Rotary, we also received that Aleutian funding for emergency student needs. And fall was exciting because the foundation also partnered with Microsoft. We applied for and received a $50,000 grant to fund a cybersecurity conference that was called Hack the Border, and you'll see their students along with Dr. Christian Servin. Dr. Servin developed that concept in collaboration with Microsoft, and it was a binational 3-day conference training students in a very cutting edge and very necessary field in cybersecurity. And as you know, cybersecurity is so important. I know that our IT department, our VP here, they keep an eye on cybersecurity very closely for us because information security, especially with student information that the college houses, is so important. And so the students actually competed and there was a lot of hands-on skill building at this conference. Long-term partnerships. This is one of the benefits of having a college foundation. Your EPCC Foundation is able to apply for corporate funding to corporations that only fund through nonprofit 501c3 organizations, as our board chair, Ms. Conroy, mentioned earlier. 2 such partnerships have been very active with Marathon Petroleum. Currently, there's a $276,000 plus partnership with welding at the Advanced Technology Center at the Valle Verde campus. And that created a high school to college transition program with YISD, allowing students to transition from the high school if they did not complete their certification. And so they really can't go out and work in industry unless they are credentialed and certified. And EPCC has the ability to give them high-quality training and get their certifications to go on to good-paying jobs in industry. So that is a partnership with Marathon Petroleum. Another partnership with Marathon Petroleum that occurred prior to that one brought lots of new welding equipment for the welding program, also at the ATC at the Valle Verde campus. So those students that are existing EPCC students or high school students that are transitioning to the college are being trained on state-of-industry equipment. There are new welding machines on order as we speak that do 4 processes. These are new in industry. Previously, those kinds of machines did not exist. Separate welding processes had to be done on different machines, and you needed a different machine to complete those. So for the first time, all 4 major welding process types can be conducted on one piece of machinery, and that'll also save shop space as well. But students will be trained on state-of-industry equipment. Scholarships in high-demand career fields. There are many, as you know, at El Paso Community College, preparing students to enter the workforce well-trained and well-prepared, credentialed with their certificates and degrees for good-paying jobs. You saw some of the dental hygiene students, and they're still here. That received scholarships. There are also scholarships for many different fields: physical therapy assistant, respiratory care, nursing, and of course, the EPCC Foundation general scholarships. We try to make it easy for students. The application is your one-stop shop. Students can go online, fill out an application. They don't have to fill out separate applications for the general scholarship. It's open to all student majors, to include international students and DACA status students. And with that one application, students are matched for all of the available funding. And so the foundation currently has 119 diverse funds for student support. And last, we'd like to share with you a campaign that will be coming up in April. We hope and encourage you all to participate. This will be an employee giving campaign, and we know that EPCC employees already give so much. Certainly, all EPCC employees give to students. They also give to the community, to the workforce, and ultimately to El Paso's future. But we want to encourage all El Paso Community College students to have an opportunity to give directly to students, either to support student scholarships or to support student emergency funding to help with some of those ongoing emerging needs that students encounter as they try to go to school. So I will share with you the foundation's last financial report, as well as a giving card, if anyone would like to make a donation of any size to the foundation in support of students. And I have a board list there for the trustees to see the titles of all the current EPCC Foundation board members. We know that our faculty give so much in the classroom, and I want to compliment EPCC faculty. Many of them are very generous donors to scholarships for students, and I have a slide here of one, Dr. Kim Diaz. But we have so many EPCC faculty and staff that donate regularly to support students with scholarships or emergency funds. Last, I'd like to end with that, as you know, EPCC students are our community's professionals for tomorrow. And so any gift to help a student will really help a student to graduate and succeed. And with that, thank you so much, and I welcome any questions that the board may have.
I have a question. On one of the first slides, I don't know if it was the second or third, you did the statistics, the data in terms of the applications that were received from the students, and then I guess how much was awarded. I mean, it was towards the beginning. But I saw that there was a dip, a little bit, right, from 2020 through 2021, and then 21 through 22 in terms of the applications received, and then the funds that were available. And I was just wondering what was attributed to that.
The pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the emphasis and a lot of, frankly, the fundraising emphasis for the foundation at that time was for emergency support for students. And so, as you know, the college did receive the federal HERF funding to assist students. And along with that, the focus of the foundation was really to try to help students with some of those additional needs once their tuition was paid. So I mentioned things like the parking sticker. There were multiple and many. Sometimes it was to pay a small utility bill. And one of the things that we've experienced is sometimes just that $50 bill, a student is weighing, do I pay this utility bill or do I put this toward my book? So we did receive a number of requests for course materials and books, or the codes, the electronic codes that go with the textbook. So those small kinds of expenses. But a lot of that was attributed to the pandemic, frankly.
Right, and were some of those funds, you had mentioned the HERF funds, did we see then that get supplemented or increased on the on this side of the?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
On the college side.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's important, I mean, because you all were there to fulfill a need of, I mean, very specific student needs, like the housing, the gas, the utility bill, and not just for the students, for the families that matter in the sense to keep them afloat, to keep them going. And I think, you know, what a lot of people don't realize is that that means that these students then still have the ability to stay in school. When we were doing such a paradigm shift from moving from the classrooms into online classes, but there was still that need that these students needed to fulfill with jobs and businesses shutting due to the pandemic. So just wanted to acknowledge that and hear you say that out loud, because there was just that notable shift, and it's important to know that special role that you all played.
Absolutely, thanks.
I just want to make one comment. As coming in as the chair and the board, we had a discussion at our last meeting, because when we look at those charts, we look at a lot of lives that didn't get that need. And with the understanding is that they qualify. They have the 3.0. They're doing this. And so we asked, and we're trying to see if we can get the data, but we don't know. We want to see if those that were unfunded, did they skip a semester? What happened? Because we couldn't, because on our part, we're trying to do what we can to up the funding, up the community to give to this to the foundation to help this, because the way we look at the EPCC is that you train the workforce. We all, and the joke is we always say the minute you go into a hospital, the person that's, pulling your blood, or if you look at your own staff, how many of them started at EPCC? When I look at professionals in this community, I look at Andrea Taney, who I think many of you know her with Texas Tech. She's just like, Cindy, what can I do? She started at a community college. Andrea Ramirez with Project Arriba started at community colleges, and they're both reaching out saying, what can we do? Because we got to help people, because you don't know who that student is, who that student's going to become. And so our goal at the foundation is trying to up that gap and, where we can.
Thank you.
So you'll see on those 22, 23 applications, that's about 700 applicants. Students know when they apply that it's a minimum 3.0 grade point average. So even if it were a $1,000 scholarship per student, that would be $700,000. So the need is there.
Any other questions? Again, thank you for all your great work.
Thank you all so much for this time and this opportunity at your meeting. It's appreciated. And I'm going to share this with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Dr. Cross.
Item 1.9, Board of Trustee business. Items 1.9.1 through 1.9.4 will be addressed after executive session. Item 1.10, Board reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report, no action required. This is the Treasurer's Report for January 31st, 2023. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Sarata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at El Paso Community College to include an update on the COVID-19 pandemic and appropriate actions taken.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty and members of the board. I'll begin my report by thanking the rapid efforts of law enforcement and first responders, as well as the timely efforts of the EPCC Police Department to secure our Administrative Services Center and the Vallaverde campus on February the 15th. Unfortunately, our city experienced another shooting incident forcing individuals on our campuses to shelter in place. I'd like to thank our police department for the amazing work they do and for trying your best to keep us all safe. While there were many who stepped up during the emergency, I'd also like to recognize Associate Vice President Blaine Primizich, who ensured that all students, faculty, and staff in the ASC B building were evacuated in a safe and timely manner after the shelter-in-place was lifted. In the midst of the chaos, he put the good of students and employees first and did what he could to help. He went above and beyond that evening, staying to help the culinary department clean up before safely escorting everyone to their vehicles. Thank you, AVP Primizich. Certainly appreciate your efforts. El Paso education leaders, philanthropic partners, and business and industry leaders joined elected officials earlier this month at the Arts, Science, and Technology Building to discuss the importance of workforce education for continued success of the El Paso community and economy. Philanthropy advocates presented an event and collaborated with Educate Texas and co-hosted by the college, Workforce Solutions, Borderplex Alliance, El Paso Community Foundation, the Paso del Norte Foundation, and the Paso del Norte Health Foundation. The discussion highlighted examples of how El Paso education and industry leaders are working together to prepare students for meaningful college experiences that prepare them for in-demand careers, and learn how our community is amplifying education for a strong Texas workforce during the 2023 session. Kudos to Dr. Moe for coordinating with philanthropy advocates to create a successful event. Mr. Uxer, thank you for joining us for that important discussion. College has been celebrating Black History Month this February with numerous activities. The Diversity and Inclusion Programs was honored with a county resolution on January the 30th and a city proclamation on January 31st for its work with recognizing Black accomplishments in the community. Kudos to Dr. Peña, Lee Vasquez, and Luz de los for their continued efforts. A contingent of students in the Maxine Silva Health Magnet's first accelerated Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program entered 2023 with their associate's degrees. The program, made possible through a partnership with Texas Tech University Health Science Center El Paso and El Paso Community College, allows students to become eligible for nursing school upon graduating high school. Congratulations to our students for this great accomplishment. Continuing my congratulations, I'd like to recognize Itiana Mondragon, a Northwest Early College student, for being awarded UTEP's Presidential Scholarship. She received $32,000 to continue her studies at UTEP. Congratulations to Itiana. The College Readiness Mentors continue with school outreach. Recently, about 60 students from the Gonzalo and Sofia Elementary School visited the Vallaverde campus. College Readiness Mentors toured the campus with the students. The chemistry, engineering, and music departments gave presentations that had important information which helped students experience careers and explore the campus. They also provided a tour for about 80 students from Ricardo Estrada Middle School. The sign language, makerspace, gym, engineering, and music departments also provided presentations to help students get additional information on a major and provide hands-on experience for the students. El Paso Community College art professor Lisa Miller has been selected as one of 7 artists to have work displayed in Fountain Hills, Arizona, as part of a temporary outdoor public art project installation beginning in March. The theme for the installation is Legends and Lore of the Valley of the Sun, and the art will be on display for 1 year. Congratulations, Professor Miller. Dr. Patricia Hudson Flores, English lecturer, will be appointed on February 24th as the president of the Board of Directors of the National Alliance of Mental Illness of El Paso for the 2023-2024 term. Dr. Hudson Flores began volunteering with NAMI as a student and is proud to extend her service to the community of El Paso in her new role. Thank you, Dr. Hudson Flores, for sharing your time and service for an organization that provides critical support resources to many in our community. Students from the Physical Therapist Assistant Program participated in a Healthy Heart Fair at Good Samaritan White Acres. The students conducted short Tai Chi sessions and answered questions about the Falls Risk Clinic and the EPCC Rio Grande Border Health Clinic. The fair was an excellent opportunity to market the preventable border health clinic services at EPCC. Health discipline coordinators and students joined SISD at their mother-daughter conference held at East Lake High School on February 4th. Many SISD students and their mothers showed interest in the cardiac sonography, medical lab technology, and pharmacy technology programs. Thank you to our faculty coordinators, Ms. Veronica Dominguez and Ms. Rosmarta Loya, Dr. Nader Rossi, Mr. James William, as well as Dr. Soraya Jar for their help and coordination of this successful event showcasing our programs. Since the last board meeting, I've participated in over 55 virtual and/or in-person meetings, including 8 Texas Association of Community Colleges meetings. I chaired the quarterly board meeting, attended the Texas Higher Education Distinguished Service Award ceremony luncheon, testified on behalf of TAC in front of the Senate Finance Committee, chaired a TAC monthly board meeting, attended a legislative committee. In addition, in my role as chair of the TAC board, I had meetings with the following legislators regarding the Texas Community College Finance Commission recommendations: Representative Capriglione, Representative Leach, Representative Stuckey, Representative Nieve Criado, Ms. Alicia Nieves, who's Chief of Staff for Representative Martinez Fisher, Senator West, Representative Busey, Representative Kempo, who's Chair of Higher Education, Representative Paul, who's the Vice Chair of Higher Education Committee in the House. Participated in a meeting with the board members from Project Arriba and Mr. Ortiz, the President and CEO. Attended the Texas Student Success Council monthly meeting. During El Paso Days, had the pleasure of leading a conversation with Dr. Harrison Keller, the Commissioner of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Chair Haggerty and Dr. Graham joined me. Met with the Chair of Appropriations, Dr. Bonin. Judge Haggerty joined me for that meeting. Met with the leadership from the Texas Education Agency, as well as Dr. James Milliken, Chancellor of UT Systems, with a focus on higher education. Many thanks to Chair Haggerty and Dr. Graham, Mrs. Robles, and Ms. Nahida for participating in El Paso Days in Austin. And recently attended the Board of Trustees Institute in Lakeway, Texas. Many thanks to Chair Haggerty and Mrs. Robles for participating. I'd like to conclude my report by providing the board with a COVID update. Fortunately, we continue to see a downward trend in daily cases. We're currently averaging 95 cases per day, which is significantly lower than the 128 cases we averaged in the prior 2-week period. We currently stand at 84.7% of our population aged 5 or older fully vaccinated, and 99.9% of our population having received their first vaccination. The 7-day average hospitalization rate is now reported daily. It currently stands at 3%. To summarize, our daily cases continue to see a downward trajectory, currently averaging 95 per day. As a reminder, the most significant metric is the 7-day average hospitalization rate, which currently stands at 3%. The benchmark rate is 15%, and should we approach that, we will adjust accordingly and seek guidance from the board. My recommendation continues to be that we continue to move forward with Phase 4 of our Return to Campus plan, which we've actually been in since Monday, August 15th. And as a reminder for the board, Phase 4 of our Return to Campus plan has the college operating at full capacity. We will continue to monitor the data and keep the Board of Trustees informed of any recommended changes for your consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions from any member of the board, Chair.
I'd just like to say Dr. Surratt is very modest. It's the first time, I've been here 28 years, it's the first time that all the community colleges got their poop together and presented it to the state legislature. And that bill's already been passed and it's all set up. We're gonna collect over $640 million. They finally have figured out that they need to go to the state and tell them what we do. There's a lot of legislators that do not understand what we do as community colleges. So I'd like to thank you, Dr. Surratt, for all your work. I know talking to some of those presidents can be quite interesting. But you all have the right to talk to your legislators also, and you all represent the college. We have to tell our story. If we don't tell our story, they don't know what we do. So anytime you see your legislator or your state senator, always tell them what we're doing at the community college. Again, Dr. Sutter, thank you very much.
Thanks, Judge.
Item 1.11, consent docket. This includes item 3.2.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 2, administration, item 2.1, 4 TASB local policies are presented for second reading and approval as part of the localized manual update 44.
Mayor, motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 2.2, DEC local TASB policy is presented for second reading and approval as part of local manual update 42.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 3, personnel. Item 3.1, discussion and action to approve full-time staff and faculty recruited in positions funded by the institutional budget.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 3.2 is approved on the consent docket. Item 3.3, information items, resignations and retirements, no action is required. Section 4, discussion, this is under financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action on the renewal of a one-year Banner Technical Advisory Services Technology Support Contract with Aleutian Company LP in an amount not to exceed $148,302.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 5, physical facilities, there are none. Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action on the ratification of a 3-year contract with Education Management Solutions, LLC, for the Total Care IQ software and hardware package and the Simulation IQ Enterprise Cloud Software subscription in the amount of $553,929.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the approval of an interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of El Paso and El Paso Community College.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Call a question?
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of an increase to an existing contract with Mike Garcia Merchant Security, LLC, for security services in an amount not to exceed $573,737. This is an additional amount to the previously approved amount of $535,194.
Question. Can you explain a little bit more detail? I mean, like, this more than, is this more than the original, so this is over doubling the existing contract? Can you just verify, word it out, flesh it out a little bit?
Sure, yes, sir. So we've experienced a little bit of challenges with staffing in the police department. And so what we've done is had to increase the security. I know at the board meeting where this was originally approved, we talked about onboarding more officers and reducing this amount. We've had to go the opposite direction. So we work closely with Chief Ramirez, VP Shaughnessy, to be able to move this to where we would think we'd have adequate security.
Okay, so we're actually hiring outside help for security, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and again, what's our extended obligation? Is this a one-year contract? Is there a 5-year? Again, what are the details of that?
Sure. So this is going to be for 3 years.
Okay.
We're completing our first year this year, and so it's for the remaining part of this year and 2 more years.
Does it correct itself if we hire more police officers?
Yes, sir. So if we hire fewer security officers, we pay them less.
Okay, that's in the contract.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? I need a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, no more questions. Call a question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education CE tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 7.3, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call a question.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Ms. Sanchez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Naheda.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Go into
Would you like to
executive
go into
session.
executive session? The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons: consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice, or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation, or for any purpose authorized by law, discussion about the value or transfer of real property, discussion about a prospective gift or donation, consideration of specific personnel matters, discussion about security, personnel or devices, or discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding the Texas Governor's Chief of Staff's memo to the Executive Director of the Employee Retirement System of Texas, dated February 4th, 2023, prohibiting diversity, equity, and inclusion in employment and other practices by Texas state agencies and related matters pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding mandatory report to the board per policy CDE local and related matters pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding El Paso Electric Substation at the College Northwest Campus pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.4, discussion with legal counsel regarding a charitable grant to the college from the National Philanthropic Trust pursuant to Section 551.073 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.5, discussion with legal counsel regarding the college's redistricting pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. The time is 5:38, and the board is now in executive session.
Okay, we're back in regular session. Pam, can you please read 1.9.1, please?
Yes, sir. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding the Texas Governor's prohibition against diversity, equity, and inclusion in employment and other practices by Texas state agencies and related matters.
No action.
Do I have a, what was that?
No action.
No action taken. Okay, Pam, can you please, do we have to pull the board on this? No. 1.9.2, please.
Item 1.9.2, discussion and take possible action regarding mandatory report to the board in accordance with policy CDE, local and related matters.
No action.
Okay, 1.9.3, Pam. No action taken on that item.
Yes, sir. Item 1.9.3, discussion and take appropriate action regarding El Paso Electric Substation at College Northwest Campus.
No action.
Okay, no action taken on that.
Item 1.9.4, discussion and take appropriate action regarding a charitable grant to the college from the National Philanthropic Trust.
No action.
Okay, so I want to remind everyone our next board meeting is on March 23rd at 4:30 right here in these chambers. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So made.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Oh, that was quick.